Yes, straight up, thank you, thank you. You're most welcome, you're most welcome. Good morning and good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. Thanks for all those people who have been watching in. First and foremost, we thank God for always keeping you alive. We thank God for the gift of life. Thanks that you're still alive. For my brothers, Alhamdulillah. We thank God for that. That you're still breathing. Many people have passed on, but who are you? Why are you special? You're not special, but just God's mercy and favor. Yes, straight up. First and foremost, before I even go any further, I need to thank Dr. Salwa. Thank you very much, Dr. Salwa. Thank you very much for the advice. Thanks for the courage. Thanks for the encouragement you've always brought in. Thanks for the positive energy, please. You very well know I told you I cannot say anything. I only pray for God to bless you. Thanks very much for having a golden heart. Thanks for being so supportive. I'm really appreciative about that. Thank you very much and keep it up, ma'am. Thank you very much, doctor. I salute you. Then for the viewers there, thanks for always following in. For those who are catching me on Facebook, I'm so humbled. Really, thanks very much. And keep watching, please. We're very sure we'll change. What we talk here is not just barely talking, but it's researched information. So we learned something as well. Thank you very much for always watching and following in. According to the comments that have been pouring in, people have told me we need to set up an investment club, and we're looking so closely about that. I'm looking so closely at that. I need to get a number of people with the same ideology so we can start something like an investment club and probably influence other more people to probably move to the channel or to the direction we're moving. And we believe one by one, just little by little, we're gonna change lots of people. Today we're going to talk about financial literacy. Today it's not going to be the motivation and all that. Today it's financial literacy, because these are the challenges we're going through. We spend lots of our time looking for money. We spend lots of our time in employment. Somebody will work for over 40 years, okay? But remember, retirement is just one day. So it only takes you one day to go into retirement and begin planning. So what have you been doing before retirement? How have you been carrying your life on before? How has your behavior been? So how has the discipline been financially? So that is what we're here to discuss. So today we're going to talk about principles of wealth. There are about 6 principles, and straight up we'll go by, we may not be in position to discuss them all at once today. Just because of time, we just need to break them a little bit. When we take it at a go, it becomes a little bit confusing and may not be easy for someone to watch it all at a go. So straight to the point, we'll begin. Thanks very much, please, once more. Thanks for paying attention, please. We'll go by having right attitude. That's the first point. The right attitude. We have to take responsibility, setting goals, understanding rate versus time, using debt wisely, and gaining knowledge. There are 6 factors basically. Please, but let's take them bit by bit. We'll discuss them 3 by 3. Inshallah, we believe, my brothers, we shall go through them. By God's will and mercy, we shall go through the 6 factors. So basically, we're going to first start with the right attitude. Having the right attitude. We believe, and first and foremost, we said, you cannot achieve success unless you believe in yourself. First and foremost, what's your attitude towards success? When you see people who have made it in life, what do you think about them? How do you feel about them? What is your attitude towards them? There are people who will always say, for example, I've worked in organizations, and for those people who have been successful, for example, William Semper, I'm sorry for mentioning your name, but you encouraged me so much. William Semper, Mr. Leonard, Victoria there. When people see colleagues who are hardworking, the best thing they think about them is to pull them down. They don't want to work with them. They don't want to learn something from them, but they want to pull them down. In organizations, wherever we've been, at workplaces, the smarter you are, the more envious people think about you. That's a very bad attitude, and that's an attitude for failures. It's very, very, very bad, and we got to desist from it. Always when you see people who have made it or people who are trying to make it through, always come to them, learn from them. Can you learn something from them? I learned a lot from William Semper. William Semper, thanks very much. Sheraton, thank you very much. Very awesome person, very humble man, and just like I've met Dr. Salwa. Thank you very much. Very, very powerful lady, very educated, but very humble. Her meekness is just something else. So please, just have the right attitude. Actually, the biggest discovery that has been made so far, just by altering your attitude, that's enough to alter the whole of your life. Just attitude. Attitude will either make you, it will break you. Attitude will suggest which kind of people move with you, which kind of people you hang out with, the decisions you make. Just your attitude. By mere thinking, as you think, so shall you be. So always have a positive attitude. And by that, I actually came up with a formula, and that formula is called E is equal to MC squared. Please, if you have somewhere you can write, always find time to write some of these things. This is knowledge. You can always refer to it even in your free time. Listen to it, give it time, and please learn from it. And this is the method. This is the method whereby E stands for economy, M stands for mass of variables, imports, exports, all odds index. We'll talk about GNP, that's gross national product. We'll talk about unemployment and lots of factors. That's a little bit mathematical. Then the E is the confidence. Now when you look at it, you'll come to realize that the E is equal to MC squared. The C is squared. The C is the confidence. Without confidence, you cannot do much. So we'll proceed and say this. For example, unless you think, you may have an idea. You're like, okay, I have some money, I have this idea, I need to set up something. But until you gain the confidence, until you put your confidence together, you cannot put that idea into, excuse me, you cannot put that idea into place. So you'll always be there, okay? Contemplating, then the procrastination comes in. The biggest obstacle. Biggest obstacle in life, procrastination. You'll say, okay, I hope I'll do this tomorrow. I hope I'll do this. And tomorrow is always the busiest day. There are certain things I've always wanted to do, and I'm like, I'll do them next week. Next week comes, you cannot do them. You're like, I'll do them next time. Next time comes, you cannot still do them. So we finished the first aspect. And that is the right attitude. Always have the right attitude. Be positive, whatever it is. Life is never soft. As a little boy, you'll always think as a little boy. But when you grow up, you change your attitude. Always have a positive attitude towards life. Never think that life is easy. No, life is always hard. Sometimes you'll get a job placement and you're getting a better salary, but life gets harder. It's not the placement that you get. No, life is always just as a constant. Time immemorial. So we'll be moving to the next point. That's point number 2, taking responsibility. Most times you have to take responsibility. This is a very big factor in life. Very many people say, for those who have failed in life, for those who are having issues in life, they'll always take their woes, okay? They'll always have responsibility. They always have responsibility to say, okay, they'll come up and say, no, I blame this person, this and this. I mean, there is something very important. By you shifting the blame to another person, that is only satisfying your conscience. That does not make you a better person. So it's very, very important, and it's very, very important. Always look at that very strongly. Look at it with a keen eye. Always take responsibility. Just find yourself, self-evaluation. Where did things go wrong? What didn't you do right? That is, by doing so, that helps you to fall back. That helps you to bounce back with prosperity. But every time you shift the blame, someone will tell you, I'll blame the government. I blame the politicians. I blame my parents. Your parents, the greatest gift or the greatest reward they gave you is the gift of life. Then the basic need, they provided you with all those things. Put yourself together. They handed the mantle to you. So unless you take personal responsibility. Look at this, and it gets more interesting. Unless you take personal responsibility, even your children will always ask you the same question. They'll say, Daddy, why is it we are poor? Daddy, why is it we cannot afford this? Daddy, why is it you have no car? Daddy, why? So it's just a cycle. It keeps rotating over and over. So take responsibility now. If it is the education, look at that closely. What went wrong? What didn't you do right? Can you fall back? Can you organize yourself? Can you put yourself back in place? And by doing so, that helps you to move on. But every time you keep blaming somebody, my boss is this, my boss is not giving me chance to exercise my power, my dad is this, my dad did this, why didn't my dad do this, why doesn't my government do this? By doing so, you are losing it. Actually, even in law, there is a terminology they have called diminished responsibility. It's called diminished responsibility. If you go to courts of law, there is that terminology. This means you can't be blamed because you aren't responsible. It's very interesting now. You see, you can't be blamed because you aren't responsible. This is very interesting. Now I was actually reading through, I was making a research, and I came to a country called Italy. Italy, they have given up on the government. The people in Italy, they will tell you, even the oldest people, 90, 70, 100 years, they work for themselves because they have lost hope in government. They never believe that the government can always fix their issues. So by doing so, actually you come to find that even if you go to Europe, for example, or you check in most of the countries, you find that Italy, no matter the economic hardships, they have always been thriving. How did they survive? How did they make it up through there? That is taking responsibility. You got to man your responsibility. When something happens, just know, Jasper, you got to stand in there. You got to take it on. Don't shift it to another person. By shifting it to another person doesn't solve it. You only satisfy your conscience. You only satisfy your conscience. There is a time I would be there and I want to blame somebody, I want to blame my parent, but they did their part. And soon or later, maybe your parent will no longer be on earth. So, whom will you be blaming? If your parents are no longer alive, whom will you be blaming? The blame comes to you. So you got to man it. You got to take it on. Dear members, please, what we are discussing is interaction and educative. So, I give it time. I research, and it's food for thought. So we got to look at it closely. So we come to see where actually we're on the second point, that's taking responsibility. Now there are three groups of people. There are people who make things happen. There are people who watch things happen, and there are those people who wonder how things happen. Okay, we're in a COVID period. People are sleeping. But people are also planning. There are people who are planning out there. There are people who are planning out there. So don't plan about, don't look at the COVID, no. Focus. Think what is going to happen after COVID. Okay, we'll see. Those are three types of people. The people who make things happen, the people who watch things happen, the spectators. Oh, this guy is doing well in life, and they're always commenting, and they're always talking, and those are people who are always backbiting and all that kind of stuff. Then there are those who wonder how things happen. I mean, these are guys who are sleeping. These are people who are sleeping. They wake up and the next time they're like, when did this person buy a car? When did this person achieve in life? When did this person get a job promotion? But they were there with you. They were there with you even when you were working hard. These people were there, they were watching. When you are taking the risk, when you are taking the blames, when you are toiling, they were there, they were seeing. But they chose just to sit back. So those are three kinds of people. Think about, discover yourself. Which group are you? Are you among the people who make things happen, those who watch things happen, or those who wonder how things happen? Look through. This is food for thought. Let's proceed. We'll go to the third point, and that's the last point. Okay? That's setting goals. setting goals is like running your own race. To me, that's how I see it, and that is what I've always told my colleagues or my friends. When you set goals, it's just like you're going to start running. It's your personal race. It's a personal race, actually. Now, when you go into a race, you may not necessarily win, but there's what they call personal satisfaction. You don't need to win the race, no, but there's what they call personal satisfaction. When you run, you may be the third, you may be the fourth, you may be the fifth, much as you may not be the last. And even if you are the last, there is that satisfaction you get. I mean, you're running. You may not lift the trophy, but you'll also simply say, I was involved in the race. So you'll always be in the race. So my simple question is, how are you setting your goals? Where do you see yourself today? Where do you see yourself in the future? Every time you just need to ask yourself, what is going to happen tomorrow? How will it be like tomorrow? Will life be the same tomorrow? If you're getting this salary today, are you sure you can still get that salary tomorrow, next year, after 5 years, and after 15 years? And what will be the status of life? That is something, those are things we need to look at. Now, the main target here in setting goals, first and foremost, is to achieve financial independence. That's a very, very important point in life. Financial independence. You must achieve financial independence. Yes, you may not be a millionaire. We are not talking about people becoming millionaires, but we are talking about financial discipline. By so talking about financial discipline, this helps us go a little further. Now, there are always reasons we have. People always come up with various reasons. Someone will tell you, for example, setting up goals. Every time you set up goals, you'll have a reason to give and say, for example, someone will tell you, my son is starting school next week. My wife needs to do her hair. We need to find another apartment. I need to change my car. I need to get another car. I need to go for holiday. So by doing so, you're altering your goals. You keep extending them. For example, if you had a saving, you'll say, oh, I'm gonna push it a little bit further, so let me finish this. So by doing so, you come to find that you're altering the goals. Remember, time does not wait for you. Time waits for no man. You very well know that setting. So the difference between successful and unsuccessful people is not lack of knowledge. No, it's not knowledge. And it's not lack of knowledge or lack of wisdom. No. The difference, this is just clear cut. Let's learn this, my dears, please. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is not lack of wisdom or knowledge. We have knowledge we have knowledge about the latest cars, the latest phone, countries, football, different television programs. All that is knowledge. It can be attained by a failure, and it can also be accessed by someone who's successful. But the biggest difference between those who are successful and those who are failures is just lack of will. The will. The moment you choose to begin and say, now, this is what I'm going to do. If it is a house, simply say, I must set up that house. No matter what it is now, no matter my condition right now, I must set up that house. Is it a single room? Is it a duplex? Just think about that. Put yourself together. Put yourself together. Just simply know that now I've set my goal and I'm not going to change my goal. Simply say, if I'm going to go back to school, I need to achieve my bachelor's. I need to do my master's. With or without, whatever it's going to take. Just simply say in 3 years. 3 years, I must be there. Set timelines. Set timelines. All these are factors we need to look at. Simply say, I've come to work. I'm going to talk about those people who are working abroad. You went abroad, you had a target of 1 year. Okay, let's say you had a target of 3 years or 4 years. You worked for 4 years. When 4 years reached, your attitude began changing. You began spending. You began living a different kind of lifestyle. Remember, you set your target at 4 years. Okay? Now when it comes to the 4 years, you're shocked because you cannot believe it's 4 years and you're already there. You spent a lot of time. You're all around things that don't matter, and the next time you realize, you're like, I cannot go home, I cannot leave, because you wasted the time there. You wasted the time back then. You were working, probably wherever you're working, you had a fair salary, you are getting a good salary. Okay, when you got a good salary, you had to change your lifestyle. Your lifestyle had to go up a bit. You began spending on things you could avoid. You began going for holidays. You began investing in liabilities, this and that. Soon or later, you're going to have a salary deduction. They're going to reduce your salary. What happens in that case? Then you begin regretting. You begin looking back. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. So let's look at this very seriously. Let's set goals. Let's set goals. This is simple. The biggest difference between the successful people and the unsuccessful people are the goals they set. Always set those goals and have the will. The will is what pushes you. The will is just like an arrow. An arrow and a bow. When you're going to shoot with an arrow, that arrow cannot go without the bow. There must be that string. And you pull and shoot. You pull and shoot. You pull and shoot until you aim your target. That is the simplest example I can give. That's an illustration I can give you about setting goals. Always have goals. Simply say, within 5 years, I'm actually setting up this. I must make it there. I must make it there. Put alone the reasons, put aside the reasons, whatever you want to put up or whatever the risk, whatever. Simply say, in 5 years or 4 years, I must have achieved this. I must have done my master's. I must have set up a single room. I must begin planning on retirement. This is how life goes, setting goals. So my brother, my sister, where are you? How are you standing? How are you setting your goals? Are you setting your goals for the future? Tomorrow? After tomorrow? Next month? How are you planning? So please, let's try to change our mentality. Today we've discussed those 3 factors. The next time we meet, we're going to discuss the other remaining 3 factors. Today we've talked about having the right attitude, taking responsibility, and setting goals. Those are 3. We're remaining with 3 that we'll be discussing the next episode. Please, thanks very much. And I believe, always refer to these notes. They're very important. It takes time to put them together. Thanks very much. Thanks for following in, and we'll have something big here. We're looking at an investment club, and I'm believing and I'm sure we're going to take it on. We're going to do it. We just need people with the right ideology, boom, and we shall be moving. That is one thing I can tell you. Thank you very much. I can only say I'm humbled. Thanks for the time. Thanks for the attention, and I pray the next time God keeps you safe, and we can always meet and still discuss some of these things. Feel free, please. We are still organizing the channels, YouTube channel, and the Facebook will be dropping all those things there. So feel free, please. We're working on it. For those with questions, you can always drop the questions. We can always answer them. Soon we're trying to expand it. We shall be having people who come in to discuss some of these points with us, so we can be enlightened on some of these factors and better and more. Otherwise, thanks very much, and may God bless you, please. Thank you very much.